1, 2, 3, 4.
Bonus episode.
Bonus episode. Bonus
Episode of King of the What Now. All right, folks, we are here for part 8 of the PreCure journey, where we got to watch a very special movie. I don't know how we ended the last segment, so hopefully this is a nice segue, but we watched PreCure Miracle Universe. Now, this movie has both your show, Catherine, and my show. It had Star Twinkle, and it has what are you, Kira a la mode?
Kira PreCure a la mode.
But then it has a third series in there. It had Hugto PreCure, which neither of us, we're not experts. We wouldn't know these characters. We wouldn't know their defining traits. So we actually sent some feelers out into the Ethernet, and we tried to find someone who would be knowledgeable of this series. And good buddy Trey is here to join us.
Good buddy Trey!
Hooray, hooray, Joel! Hooray, hooray, Cat!
Hooray, hooray! Wonderful. So before we get into this episode, why don't you just give a little introduction about yourself? Where can people find you on the internet?
Yeah, so I am the host of the Full Spectrum podcast on YouTube. It's only on YouTube now that we've gone live for every episode. But we hang out there. We also do a bunch of other random videos that really is random. It's just the full spectrum of nerd culture, as we call it. And then you can also find me on Twitter, which I'm unironically super active on, at ReptorianXD.
Are people ironically active on Twitter?
In hindsight, that's a very good question.
I guess you're not really doing it for clout. Like, you're legitimately looking for friends and to talk about anime and other nerdy things.
I guess, like, celebrities, this is going to derail immediately. Celebrities are, like, ironically active on Twitter, right?
Sure.
Okay.
We'll just post every, week, once a week, just to make sure people still follow.
Okay, fair enough. So
immediately called out half the internet.
So really quickly, because anyone who's been listening to either this mega episode or the previous 7 mini installments, they know our characters from Kat and Mai's show pretty well. Do you want to just give us kind of like a quick rundown of the characters, maybe their cure names, maybe their color, and maybe like their defining character trait really quick?
Sure. So my Pink, the main character, is Nonohana. She is Cure Yell, or Cure L, as the show calls it, because that's just the name they decided to go with. I don't know where I was going with that, but she is a cheerleader.
It's some sort of pun. Oh, sorry, I didn't mean to interrupt. It's some sort of pun about flying, right?
No. It is firmly a cheerleader reference because she yells all the time, unironically. She's got the pom-poms, and she has the cheer that she uses to cheer on people, which is actually very plot important, because her cheer, hooray, hooray, is always paired with you can do anything, you can be anything. And so that's her theme in life, is to become the person she wants to be.
Huh. That's a very common theme, I think, in PreCure. Our Pink Girl, or my Pink Girl, has that as well.
I mean, I'm not saying that she gets it from Hana at the end of my series and that your series is just aping off of my series' success, but,
Ooh, he's coming for you, Joel. We're going to have to throw down.
This might be a longish episode, so let's focus. Who's the next Cure character you want to talk about?
Saya Yakushuji is the blue. She's Cure Anj. Her special thing is that she blocks attacks for other people. That's basically all she gets to do. Then I have Homare Kagayaki, which of course means shooting star, and she is the shooting star. Cure Etoile, which is all about travel and speed and flight. And she is yellow, and she can ride on a star, which is pretty sick. She's also best girl.
She does rider kicks.
Yes, she does rider kicks. She's real cool. That's all I'm saying. She's real cool. I could spend 4 hours talking about Homare, so I'm going to move on. Imaru Aisaki is Cure Mashiri. She's the red one. I get the feeling she's way less cool than a lot of other reds, but I like her as a character a whole lot. She's really interesting. She plays the guitar, and she loves music. And she also loves the other Cure that's introduced along with her, Lulu Amour, Cure Amour, who is purple. They love each other very much, and they're the greatest. So she's a robot that has a cool gun arm that she never uses.
So I have a bit of a confession. I read your Hugto thread, and I've been pronouncing Homare's name as Homer this whole time. Like
That is what it looks like.
So every time you say it, I go, he's pronouncing that wrong. But you're not. I'm just a doofus.
That's all right.
Yeah. It's the Japanese language and all that other good stuff.
Yeah, you never know.
Also, throughout this episode, if people can't remember each other's Kira's names, that's, kind of to be expected, but we did create a nice little cheat sheet for those who want to peek behind the curtain.
Absolutely. So, Joel, you made it very clear when we sat down to watch this movie with good buddy Trey that this was your movie.
It was.
So I think we should make you summarize
Should
it.
we talk about
That sounds
for a
super
second?
fair. Do we have to talk about the part where I queued up the wrong movie?
Okay, there you go. That's the punchline of the joke. But yeah, folks, so if you haven't seen a PreCure movie, it usually has the main girl, the pink one, sitting in a animated theater saying, hey, here's a miracle light, because I guess every single movie has one of those. And they're like, hey, don't throw it. Be nice. Are you ready for the movie? Trey cues up the movie. He bought the DVD from Japan,
yes.
and he put it into the DVD player, and we had our popcorn ready, and it starts playing, and it shows the Hugto girl. And I go, that's weird. You'd think that since this is technically a Star Twinkle movie, it would be my girl up there. That's weird. And the monster shows up. It's all according to Keikaku.
Yes.
The original PreCure, is it called
Futariwa.
Futariwa,
Yeah.
Thank you. They show up and they fight the bad guys, and I go, okay, I didn't think that these two or these three are going to be in the show, but whatever. And then the name of the movie comes up, and I go, that's not the same movie. That's not the one that I thought we were going to watch together.
I wish we had watched the other movie.
Oh, it looks so promising.
We'll get into it.
But yeah, when we did eventually reorder the proper DVD and we put it into the DVD player and we watched it, it was, again, like I said, the miracle light of the universe. I closed the tab, so you're just going to have to believe me that that's the name of the movie.
PreCure Miracle Universe.
Thank you. And this time, it was Cure Star who was giving the explanation about the lights or whatever, and it did show the other teams being like, don't throw it, don't swallow it. Cool. Since it is my movie, technically, I can summarize it, and I can summarize it pretty well.
Oh.
Yeah. There's a chick alien, like not a girl, a baby chicken alien, who is building these miracle lights, because they're factorized, of course, and he can't do anything right, and then the factory explodes, and a bunch of PreCures show up, but the PreCures are blamed for the factory explosion and the weird evil jelly that's like going through the universe.
I never understood why they got blamed.
Because they showed up at the same time that the bad stuff happened. Obviously, they go hand in hand together.
Clearly.
You know that the Flash is an arsonist because of all the times he's shown up to, fiery buildings to save people.
Yes,
Is
obviously.
J.
Forgive
Jonah
me.
Jameson running this?
Yeah. Okay, so the all sorts of things start to go wrong, and the Star Twinkle girls screw up a combo attack that causes the explosion to get worse and evil goop to go everywhere. Most of the girls get captured, and then it turns out that one of the guys who was apparently friends with the chicken guy, which we are given no indication of this, but apparently he can fix the last remaining miracle light in possession of this chicken guy, whose name I don't even remember at this
P-Tone.
point. P-Tone.
It was a pun that Trey
was-
didn't like.
It was P-Tone. Hey, my name is the sound a chicken makes and the sound a step makes. That's me, cute little chicken rocket guy that just my name is the chicken walking and talking.
Okay, so he has like the last remaining miracle light that's holding off the darkness goop. And this other character, whose name is not important, is like, I have the finishing sauce or finishing gel or something. Which
Finishing liquid.
There you go. Which will
I think his
finish
name was Yongyu.
Oh yeah, it was Yongo. Because I was like, kind of like Django, I guess. So he offers to help fix this last miracle light, but when they use the finishing liquid, it explodes because he was actually the bad guy all along. And then
He lifts up his skirts and reveals the
Oh my gosh, yes.
These are supposed to be succinct summaries.
Okay, sorry.
He's actually evil. He makes a lot more goop. The girls combo attack, and they try to beat him, but they can't. And then the chicken is like, I have feelings too. And then this time they're able to win. With some help from occasional cameos from other PreCure characters.
And that was your...
Succinct summary! Trey, you're the newcomer to this
podcast.
to this segment.
That's the word.
Trey, you are a person who is currently on the mic with us, the King of the What Now hosts. What did you think of this movie?
I'm gonna be honest, it's not the worst movie that I've seen tokusatsu-wise. It's definitely the worst PreCure movie I've ever seen.
Out of the two, right?
Yes, out of the two.
The 2.1, because we saw the first 5 minutes.
Yes.
The first 5 minutes of that movie were stronger than this entire movie that we just watched.
Oh yeah, by far.
So what, in your opinion, dragged it down so low? Was there like a particular weak spot?
Yeah, I think the biggest weak spot is the opening of the movie. They didn't really spend any time with Piton, I hate him so much, with Piton or any of the other characters. They didn't do any setup at all, really. So it's just like, oh, things go bad immediately. Here are the PreCures. They can throw them at the problem. It's like, but why? Who is this guy? What is this factory? What is going on? We didn't stop to talk about this at all.
Hold on now here. I have a suggestion, since we all hate Piton and his terrible pun name. What if instead of calling him Piton, we pull a 4Kids and we call him Squakwalk?
I'm down for that.
Squawk. Okay, all right. You can tell by the way that I use my squawk. I'm a woman's man, no time to walk.
Yes,
I got the order wrong, but...
The 3 best characters in this movie, Squawkwalk, Jun Fukuyama, and the owl.
But no, I really agree with Trey. I feel like they just sort of threw us into the plot, but didn't really give us a reason to care about the bad guy or the weird chicken OC.
Yeah.
And then they gave us our PreCures, and we're supposed to be excited to see the PreCures, but none of them really did anything either.
Yeah. There is a moment, so between the original, they are trying to be captured, and the breaking of the final miracle light that sends us into the final act, the different girls get sent to different planets. So there's one that is basically all the couples, like almost explicitly the 3 pairs of girls from the 3 series.
Yeah.
Another one is mostly, it's Star Twinkle and then a lot of Trey's Hugto characters.
Mm-hmm.
And then the last one is everyone else. It's all of the patisserie people with Lala, who learns how to make a delightful chicken-shaped
Snack.
that she serves to the chicken person.
To Squawkwalk.
To Squawk.
Yep.
But anyways, there is one moment during that where Solier and Celine from my series do the Emperor's New Groove Cusco walk, kind of like back-to-back thing. So there was a moment of like, we don't know how to work as a team, and then they were taught how to work as a team. But that was the only one of my 4 characters who had a moment that felt like a moment. The other ones just felt like we need to waste time until we get to the end of the movie.
I actually feel like Hikaru's moment made her character worse in this movie.
Okay.
Because she gives a really good speech to Squawkwalk, and then turns around and is given a speech by Hana, Homare, and Saya for no reason. Like, she had already done a really good job on her own. She didn't suddenly need her senpai to come in and go, hey, yeah, you did good, but also fix this about yourself.
Girl, you're a mess. Saving the universe like that?
You are not totes adorbs right now.
That's true.
Yeah, so I guess the theme, or the idea, is that the Star Twinkle girls are the younger team, and at this point, it's only the 4 of them. The 5th member has not shown up, so it is earlier in their Star Twinkle adventure. So I guess the idea is that the older girls are going to help them through, but like Trey said, Hikaru is already pretty good at believing in herself, so I'm not sure. And I mean, I guess maybe it's Piton believing in himself, but I'm not sure when that happens. I think he just cries, and that sends us into Act 3.
He doesn't, yeah.
So if the lesson that the PreCure were supposed to be learning, and by the PreCure I mean the Star Twinkle girls, if they were supposed to be learning how to be a more cohesive team together and with the other PreCure, then I feel like the thing that ultimately should have led to their victory should have been teamwork, but it wasn't. It was a duck crying on a flashlight.
Yeah, no, I agree. I think Squakwalk's entire inclusion in this movie made this movie way worse than it needed to be.
Mm-hmm. Does anyone have any positives that they want to share? Any one scene that worked pretty well for them?
Trey, I'll let you go first.
Okay, I was gonna go first anyway without being courteous, so thank you. Like we both started to talk, and I was like, "Oh crud! I should have waited." The scene where all of the PreCure like hold hands over the top of Squakwalk is like that's actually a really cool scene. I like the way that they all blocked the attack together.
Yeah, it's like they all started running at the same time, Deku style.
Yeah, it was super cool.
I really liked the design of the bad guy when he ultimately took his like final rainbow snake form. Why was a bird a snake?
Because he was the traitor.
Okay, yeah, he had like some Quetzalcoatl vibes going on.
Everyone knows the phrase "snake in chicken's clothing." Like we're all familiar.
A little on the nose. He was literally color coded like dark. He was voiced by Jun Fukuyama. He had evil glasses.
Oh man!
I also liked the scene on Lesbian Island, as I think I'm gonna have to call it.
Oh, God. Yeah, okay.
Because it the energy of this scene. So they're all each pair is tied to their girl, right?
They get captured in nets, kind of thing. Yep.
And they're trying to escape, and the Hugto girls work together to kick the bad guys and spin around, and my girls work together to go up this rope and beat up the bad guys. And your girls, Joel, they're having trouble, and the older lesbians are like, you just have to believe in the feelings in your heart and the feelings of your partner.
Yeah, it's not about being in sync with your bodies, it's being in sync with your spirits, which, you know, sounds something like you might hear from couples counseling. I needed the word. I had to finish the joke. I personally, the one thing that stands out, it's a really small detail, it's stupid, but every PreCure season, to my knowledge, ends with the main girl from the current season that's ending meeting the girl from the next season who will become the next pink PreCure. And so that scene has already happened, I guess, because this takes place after Hugto is finished. So when all the girls show up in the portals, Hikaru was just like, oh, hey, it's you. And Hannah's like, oh, hey, it's you. And I really like the fact that they have this pre-existing, I know who that is.
Yeah.
Yeah. That was a very tokusatsu thing of introducing the new character at the end of the season that's ending. And I'm glad that PreCure does that as well, because that's always hype.
For sure. I love it when series do that. I love it when you do the big crossovers. I think Digimon has done that. I haven't seen the movie where they do it, but I got really excited when I heard, like, oh yeah, the Digidescents from Season 1 and Season 3 are going to hang out in the same place. Yeah. It's like, oh, that's so cool. I love it.
Not to derail too much, but Kamen Rider does this thing. Sentai does it sometimes too, but Kamen Rider does this thing where when they introduce the new character, sometimes they haven't even appeared, like, it's not even canonically, like, the start of their first episode yet. And so they don't call themselves a Kamen Rider, and the old character gets to tell them, I'm a Kamen Rider. And then the new character's like, oh, that's really cool. I want to be a Kamen Rider.
Oh, I love that.
I did have another positive before we move on.
Tell us.
It's kind of a throwaway line, but it was my favorite line in the whole movie. And it was, don't transform. from the guys that had the PreCure surrounded, the police guys from this weird Miracle Light factory that have their own private security force, I guess. And like they're all like gathered around him and they're like, don't you dare transform, don't you do it.
Well, and I mean, if you want to check out, if you're listening to this, that means you're on the King of the What Now Patreon. But if you want to listen to our live commentary to this episode, I believe that will be up on the Full Spectrum YouTube channel.
It'll go up on our Patreon, yeah.
Okay, it will go up on their Patreon. Perfect. But
The supercut will go up on the channel, though.
But one of the things that we joked about is, are they going to shoot the pre-curls? You know, like if it looks like you're about to transform, if you become like a translucent beam of light that's in the general shape of a girl wearing a dress, we will fire.
Well, and then they transformed anyway. Absolutely no consequences at all. And then the police go, undo your transformation. For what?
Yeah, the police are basically the substitute teacher that have no control over the classroom. They're like, everyone sit down. The kids just start screaming louder.
It was great. That was my favorite scene of the movie.
So one of the things that I was excited for when I heard about these PreCure movies was the idea of seeing the different teams fight together and maybe combine their attacks. You know, we actually only started watching PreCure because we heard, they do these crossover movies. And we were like, that's really cool. We got to watch the season so we can watch the crossovers. And I feel like this crossover movie did not quite meet my needs or expectations. So I'm curious what you guys would have hoped for going into this movie.
Joel, do you want to go first, or should I?
Yeah, it seems like we're kind of alternating who starts on these. So I guess what I'm expecting is something about the themes of each of the seasons to overlap. So my girls from Star Twinkle, they're all about like imagining what you want to be, which it sounds like is very close to what Hugto was about. But when you introduce the Kira Kira girls, I feel like maybe it should have been a movie about baking, and I know that would feel like it was more Kira Kira focused, but it would be a lesson that the Star Twinkle girls could learn. Or do something where the Kira Kira girls can't bake, and then the Star Twinkle girls are like, hey, here's how to believe in yourself or something. So just a moment where one team mentors another, and it's effective, not just like, hey, try being better pre-cures. Okay, we got it. How about you, Trey?
I was expecting, kind of like Kat, I was expecting some combo attacks, and then kind of like you, Joel, I was expecting the plot to actually matter, that the crossover characters were there. I was expecting it to tie in some way. It doesn't have to tie into the story, obviously, but if the characters are going to be there, they need to have something to do. They need to work together in some way. And you kind of get like the sight of that in this movie with the idea of them all split up. But it doesn't pay off other than with the exclusion of Lesbian Island, as we've said. All the rest is just kind of, hey, the characters are there. And at that point, why is it even a crossover movie? Where I think crossover movies excel at is the idea of this character and this character that you would never see together. But now they're together, and what do they do now that they're together? How do they talk to each other? How do they interact with each other? Are they friends? If they are friends, what cool friend stuff do they do? Even in fights, like what cool friend stuff do you do?
Yeah.
You got a cool team up attack? I want to see a cool team up attack.
How do the team leader types work together, or how do they clash trying to be the boss?
Mm-hmm.
I honestly wondered before we'd seen any of the crossover movies, Kat and I was asking her, I was like, so is this going to be like the traditional superhero formula where they punch each other for a bit and then they're friends and then they team up in the final act? Or is it going to be they are immediately on board? And it turns out they were even more immediately on board than I had assumed. I thought there'd be like a moment where they'd be like, who are you? Oh, here's my name. I never learned the names of the Hugto girls throughout this movie.
That's because the characters don't talk to each other.
Nope.
There's no moments where because again, in canon, these characters have met before, except for a lot of the Star Twinkle characters, but like the Kira Kira characters never talk to the Hugto characters. There's no moment where Kira Chocolat is like, hey, there's Homare, I'm going to mess with her a little bit more again.
I really want to see that now, because those are two of my favorite characters. Like, come on.
You should watch my crossover movie, Joel. That's all I'm saying. You should watch my crossover movie, because there's some good stuff in there.
Well, and I even had my standalone movie for Kira Kira, right? And in that standalone movie, for some reason, the witchy Kira girls were there.
Nice.
And they still had more of an impact on the plot of a movie they didn't even have any business being in.
I just remembered. Go ahead. I'm sorry. I can wait.
Just then this movie where all of the girls were in there together. So they know how to do this. They know how to write compelling crossovers. They just did not.
I forgot that the witchy characters and the Futari characters show up in this movie.
Oh yeah, we get a couple of nods to a couple of the seasons, but it's really blink and you miss it. Like, they end up waving the miracle lights, which, as I said, is apparently in every single PreCure movie, at least after a certain point.
Seems like it. They have no lines. They have no action. They don't do anything other than have, like, they get one line, I guess. They all go, oh.
There are civilians on Earth that are like, you can do it, and they get more screen time than previous PreCure girls.
You're so right, Joel.
You know what was cool? So in Trey's season in Hugto, it was the 15th anniversary season, and so they pulled out all the stops, right? And they had the major climactic battle, I think, or maybe it was like a climactic battle, but they had a major battle where every PreCure from every season showed up. And it was very cool. And then all of the PreCure from similar seasons with similar themes grouped together and like shouted out what their theme was. So like, to defend our feelings and for our future. That was cool. That's the kind of thing really I want from a crossover.
Wait, hang on. Okay, so I know there might be some people who get upset by this comparison, but the Hugto series had the on your left moment, or you're not alone, from Star Wars and Avengers, whereas this movie was more like, why did you say that name? Or like, you know, like it has
You're
as much
so
impact as Wonder Woman showing up in
You're
BVS.
so right.
Oh no.
Oh man.
Okay, which of our characters is least likely to understand brunch? Probably Lala, I think, because she's an alien who doesn't understand Earth customs.
Yeah, I think so. My girls know what brunch are, and Trey, correct me if I'm wrong, but I feel like yours would know what brunch is because they all want to be like adults.
Yes. They, in fact, they're able to dress up using the Mirror iPad, and at one point they work at like a mall that has a brunch place over there. So they definitely know.
All right, perfect. I just had a flash of one more thing that's very positive that makes me giggle. On Lesbian Island, they're apparently...
We just all crack up every time.
We should just rename this section of the episode Adventures on Lesbian Island.
No, listen. Every time you say Lesbian Island, Nami's ears perk up and she goes, what? Where? And the longbows move slightly so she can adjust the course.
That's Nami's all blue.
Perfect. But anyways, there's one of the characters from Hugto. Okay, let me pull up the cheat sheet. Let me try to figure out who it might have been. Looks like it might have been Lulu. She's apparently a cyborg?
Yes, she's a cool android.
Okay. The other girls are like, it's so hot. And they're like sweating and they're like fanning themselves. There's one girl is like running to try to escape the heat because, god damn it.
Yeah, Imiru's kind of adults. Don't worry, she's kind of stupid.
Okay. But Lulu is sitting in the corner and she is fine. And everyone's like, how are you cool? And she's like, well, I'm a cyborg. I can just change or android, whatever the word is. I can just change my internal cooling systems. And so a bunch of the other girls start like hugging her for her coldness, like the opposite of hugging her for her warmth. And Harry tries to be like, can I hug? And she's like, get away. And she kicks him. And she's like, this is girls only. She invites Elena and Madoka to join in, and you see little hearts come off of my two little lesbians. It's so good.
It was kind of a weird moment because, like, Lulu doesn't hate Harry. I don't know what was going on in that scene. I'm just like, no, you can't hug me.
She's a girl android.
Oh,
she thought it would be inappropriate.
I forgot they were on Lesbian Island. You can't have, when you're on Lesbian Island, you cannot have any kind of male-female hugging. That's not allowed.
Okay, so I think, we're always talking about Luffy wanting to be king of the what now? Lulu's queen of the lesbians. That's her official title because of her internal cooling mechanism.
Are you sure Cure Macaron isn't queen of the lesbians?
You might be right.
That was another great thing from this movie. She and Chocolat are so extra. Any scene where they attack, it's them attacking together and they're all draped over one another.
No, seriously, they had one where all of the girls were shooting a beam straight up, and all of them were individual shots until it was your two girls, and it was one of them draped over the lap of the other. So good.
It was very convincing.
If you're listening to this episode and you're like, you know what I need in my life? I need cute girls that want to kiss girls. My season is for you. It's very explicit.
I mean, they had 2 different date episodes with 2 different pairs of characters.
I can outdo you, though. I haven't seen your series, but I can outdo you.
Ooh.
Because multiple times, Imiru says, Lulu, I love you. I only want to be with you. I want us to be together forever. And Lulu hugs her and says, I love you, Imiru. And then the music goes, wah, wah, wah. And it's like, oh yeah, no, that's very clear.
Oh man. See, my couple was a little bit more one-sided. There was a confession of love, but only from one girl to the other.
God, my show had 3 separate pairs of girls that I would consider headcanon together. Like, there's pretty good reason to think so, but there's no mention of the word love, and that just... My Little Pony had more lesbian representation in its finale than my show, even though they're clearly paired off.
We're not going to talk about the incorrect relationships in the finale of My Little Pony. This is not the episode for that.
No.
Oh, Trey, I don't know if you've noticed, but we actually are slightly brony-ish. Not 100%, we don't go to all the cons and stuff, but we do know all the characters and stuff, so...
I ran my campus's My Little Pony club in college, and we had like 70 members, so, you know.
I guess I can out myself here since I haven't done it on my podcast. I haven't watched the most recent seasons, though I know what happens. But I absolutely watched the first 4 seasons, like religiously.
The first
I've really
4
enjoyed it.
Were super good, and then it got kind of weird, and then I tried to watch the finale thinking I would be fine, not knowing anything that happened, and no, I needed to watch that last season.
I don't mean to derail and not to get super personal, but obviously, you know, I say obviously, people that only listen to your podcast have no idea. I have 5 adopted siblings. The episode Apples to the Core made us all cry. We were all in tears.
Oh yeah, me too. I don't have 5 adopted siblings. I have 3 regular siblings, but it still gave me very powerful emotions.
Yeah, family's pretty
I have
strong.
3 regulars. I have 3 regular siblings, but my husband, he has 2 extra large siblings with a side of burgers.
My siblings are pretty small, but kids meal size.
All right. So, is there any Catherine? You never actually went into detail about what your perfect crossover would look like.
That's
like,
true.
what was this show or this movie that we watched together missing?
So I think the best way to do a crossover like this is to have the main girl from one of the groups separated from her team and be fighting to get back to them or fighting to free them in some way. And she learns from the other PreCure she encounters, and she's able to take what she learns and teach it to her fellow Cures, or they help her get her team back.
Okay, yeah.
I also think my perfect PreCure movie would have a villain.
Like with actual motives?
Yeah.
Yeah.
The villain's motives in this movie were he works at the factory that manufacture miracle lights so that the universe can cheer on the PreCure, and he wanted people to cheer for him for once.
Why does he work there? They literally stop his power.
Like, just go work somewhere else, man. Go become
make
a
your own
legendary
factory.
PreCure.
Oh.
Yeah. Well, and this is kind of a weird thing to say. This kind of feels like shonen power creep, because once you've had a season of PreCure where the final bad guy wants to eradicate the universe, you can't have the next bad guy be like, I want to rob a bank. You know, you have to have everything be a world-ending catastrophe, but like, just give me one of those. Give me like a single villain who maybe is ambiguously like, he has good reasons for doing the bad stuff, but it's clearly bad stuff and that sort of thing.
Trey, how much do spoilers bother you?
Not that much, really, honestly. Especially with Tokusatsu.
Okay. Joel was saying that it's hard to, like, one up the bad guy. The bad guy for my season, his final thing was that he vored the entire planet so that he could destroy the universe so there would be no feelings.
My final bad guy stops time
Nice.
so that his happy day can never end.
Okay, I was about to say, what's the motivation for that? My series had basically literally God be like, hey, the Big Bang was a mistake. I'm going to try it again.
All right.
So, I mean, all of our series seem to have hit that peak, like, where do you go from here sort of thing.
I do have one other thing that I think this movie messed up as a crossover movie. Can I have a weird hot take right now about PreCure?
Get it.
I think a lot of PreCure villains, like the regular villains, are great. I think a lot of PreCure final villains, from what I've seen, are pretty hot garbo.
Yes, absolutely. We've only watched like 1.5 seasons, depending on how you look at it, but the ones that we have seen, they're just like, I'm evil because of evil, except for Catherine's season. Kira actually had pretty good motives, but...
That's good to hear.
Yeah.
My guy might be a pedophile, and he's just like forgiven.
Cool. I love it when that happens.
And it's not great.
No, absolutely not. Let's move on.
He gives
That's
Hana a wedding dress.
He gives who?
He gives the main character, Hana, a wedding dress.
Okay. Interesting.
And he's like 45.
Oh, man. That's not good. That's not a good look for anyone. What the heck?
No.
Even if she were like 20, that wouldn't be great.
Nope.
No,
I'm gonna like really dig into it in my special episode on it for the channel, but I actually think like Hugto's ending is really bad.
Oh, man. What if we could... Okay, this is completely different than what we're talking about right now, but you could do a series where there's the main PreCure is like, has to pick who she wants to be betrothed to, and so throughout the series, one of them could be like the blatantly evil guy, and one of them could be like the nice, pure angel and white knight guy, and then there could be like a third one who's like a little anti-hero-ish, like a little bit morally gray, and she has to pick which one. And the evil one's always trying to mess up her dates.
That'd be really cool. Also, I realize now I'm the one who dragged us into a dark place. I'm sorry.
It's okay. In one of our previous episodes, Joel tried to be like, this was a funny joke. And I went, actually, that's based on real world systemic problems. And he went, oh, that's a bummer.
Oh, no. Oh, no.
We had a long silence where we considered the death of a funny joke. So it's not just you.
That's fair. That makes me feel better. I will say, like, the final ending of Hugto is really good. It's just the entire lead up to that is, ooh.
Oh, gotcha. Like the final arc type of stuff is Yucktown.
Yeah, I think the final boss is a villain, and like the lead up to fighting him is probably the worst part of that show.
Okay, yeah, fair enough. Now, I will say another thing that you could do, you can't do this for every PreCure crossover movie, but one that would work pretty well is, what if something happened and their powers were on the fritz, and so they had to kind of like team up together in their normal high school girl, powers or whatever, and save the day that way. And then in the end, they could learn to believe in their powers again or something like that.
That would do it for sure.
Another one I thought of was you could have some sort of corrupting force affecting PreCure teams across the world. And the main team that the movie was about would be trying to find a way to heal them.
Okay, sure.
Nice. And they have to fight PreCure the whole time?
Yeah, exactly. Well, because then we'd get some of those like team up attacks we want, and we'd get to see the PreCure use their attacks on each other, which would be neat.
Oh, especially if you mix up the enemy teams. So instead of just like, hey, here's the whole team from one show, and they're evil because they've been corrupted, like mix up the members.
Yes.
I love that. I do wonder if maybe some part of it might be budgetary. Like maybe you have to pay specific actors, and maybe the further back you go, the harder it is to get them. But I also would love an evil team that have their own kind of PreCure transformation and maybe be a legitimate threat. That'd be good. We like legitimate threats. Really cool. We like tension.
Yeah. You know, another thing, but I know we need to move on. I'm sorry. Just real quick. Another thing I think this movie messed up, that's the word, badly. When it comes to like crossover movie, is that none of the characters really got to do their cool attack.
No.
So we didn't have like everybody doing their super move. It was just like, let's all do a finisher together.
Yeah.
Yeah, I was really surprised. The my PreCure didn't even pull out like the animal go round or anything. Like none of their finishing attacks.
Which is like weird.
I really get the impression that they spent their time in planning on the hug toe, and then the next season they're like, we got to do another crossover movie, and like, we just did all of them.
We have no
What
money.
more do you want?
Sit down, Squakwalk.
Do you want to know something really sad, Trey?
Yes.
So Joel's season and my season were actually supposed to have a second crossover movie. And it was supposed to come out in April of this year.
Oh no.
Can you guess why maybe that didn't happen? And there's no updated release date, so I'm sad.
Oh, that's terrible. I'm so sorry.
I want everyone to be safe, but it would also be cool to see that movie, you know?
Yeah.
Yeah.
For sure.
So I have one last question on comments of quality, I guess. We all pretty much hated Patan, not just because of his name. Oh, sorry, Squakwalk.
Yeah.
You're welcome. You shouldn't dead name your weird chicken alien things. But Patan, that's a name I haven't heard in some time.
We all hated Squakwalk.
Right, and we kind of felt like he muddied the water. Like, was this story about the Star Twinkle Girls, or was it a movie about him? And so my question is, since every movie I've seen from PreCure introduces a new character who is either the hero or the sidekick or the villain, so I guess my point is does this movie need Patan, and do future movies always need like a helpless child character that's new to this movie, or can we just focus on the PreCures? Trey, why don't you go ahead and start?
Oh man, I wish this movie didn't have Patan. This movie would have to change drastically if he wasn't there. I think it's a crutch in a bad way, and I don't mean that as bad as it sounds, but I do think like the idea of, and this is something that I think Tokusatsu struggles with, the idea of, well, we have to make a movie. Okay, instead of going, all right, well, we're going to have these series crossover, what do we want to do with them? They go, okay, the story's going to be about this guy, and he has this thing going on. And it's like, okay, but that's not what anybody's here for. The Kamen Rider Heisei Generations movies do that too. I'm sorry, go ahead, Kat.
It's very contrived, for sure, right?
Yeah.
Like, you can tell that they threw together this character just to have something to get the PreCure to be there doing things.
Yeah.
For sure.
I think that in a crossover movie, that's already too much. I think in individual films, it makes sense to introduce a new character, and it also seems like it's just a time-honored tradition. Like, I think someone in Japan would get one of their hands cut off if they tried to pitch a movie that didn't have the child stand-in character.
Sure.
But save that for the solo movies and have the crossovers be about the crossovers. Have them interacting. Yeah.
Have you ever seen a One Piece movie that didn't have an obnoxious child character?
Stampede actually did.
Can you imagine a One Piece movie that's just like, hey, the Straw Hats are here, but we're going to focus on this kid that is just a chicken. He ate the Tori Tori no Mi style chicken, and now here he is. And he's the main character, and every once in a while, the Straw Hats are going to show up and give him a good, cool pep talk.
I'd be so mad.
It's a movie about Gaimon's little brother discovering the secret treasure of the temple, and every once in a while he runs into a room, and one of the Straw Hats are there, and they just say, like, you can do it! Have you seen my meat? That's Luffy's only contribution, and Gaimon's little brother leaves.
I don't want Luffy to say, have you seen my meat? To the child character, actually.
I want the child chicken man to run in, and then Zoro looks at him very seriously and says, you have to believe in your feelings.
I'm going to get back to your question really quick, Joel. You asked if at first you asked if the movies need an original villain. And I do think the villain needs to be an original character, because why would a villain they'd already defeated show up? And if it's a series that's ongoing, why would their villain show up only to get beaten and then be a force of evil in their...
Yeah, that was a miss
for sure.
Speak on my part, but...
Okay. But the, like, character who they're doing things for, we don't need them. They can go. I don't really feel like there was one of those, well, Okay, I was gonna say there wasn't one of those in my standalone movie, but there was. But he also was, like, plotchily relevant. Like, he was one of my character's mentors, and he existed in canon of my series.
Sure. Well, and he actually, when we had our discussion, he had a bit of a character arc in that movie, whereas Piton's character arc is so contrived. I feel bad about myself, but now I don't. And it's like, okay, that's not really how self-esteem works, but thanks.
Well, and to a much lesser extent, I think like Kamen Rider Zio, I don't mean to just reference Kamen Rider. I do watch other tokusatsu. But Kamen Rider Zio is a crossover season. And instead of being like, okay, here's the main character from this season, and here we go, and we're going to spend it, they will just go, okay, what about, like, instead of making this episode about the main character, what if we brought back a side character from that season that never got to finish their arc or that didn't get to do a thing they needed to do? And I think you can do that with the crossover movies too, of just go, hey, Kira is going to be in here. Let's bring a random character from episode 17 of Kira and be like, yeah, this character's getting some time now. They're the main character of this movie.
Trey, I think I got it. What you are suggesting, subliminally, maybe not realizing it, but what you're saying is that you want a movie about buff grandma.
I 100% want buff grandma to be in a movie.
She has a movie where she tries to open her own gym. That's her dream.
Look, I don't mean to spoil Hug 2 for everybody, but Hug Grandma becomes a cure at the end of that show.
Of course.
I'm just saying, where's her standalone movie?
My favorite thing that I know about your show is that it finally gets a male PreCure, which is all I've been asking for.
He's super cool.
But then
too.
everybody is a PreCure.
Yeah. It kind of diminishes his success, but it's fine. Also, he's really great. He's got a really great relationship with his boyfriend. It's really cool.
Oh, awesome.
Trey's season said gay rights pretty hard.
Yeah, pretty much.
I think it's just natural. You have a show that's, I don't know.
It's about hugging.
You have a show about hugging and...
Relationships are cool. I don't care. Hug everybody. It's cool.
I'm surprised that you didn't actually have like a super strong like ecologist or a tree hugger sort of character show up. I'll hug that tree. I'll hug this tree.
Imiru is like the opposite of that. She doesn't want to hug anything at first. She's like, I don't mean to just derail everything here, but like she is afraid of everything when she's introduced, and it's only because Lulu like pulls her out of that she's able to move past that and start hugging things. It's really cool.
So that explains why she was running away from the heat. I was so confused by that decision.
Yes.
Having never seen her before.
Really quick, Trey. I'm going to lay down the law here.
Okay.
We invited you onto this podcast because we were excited to discuss stuff with you. So you're not derailing by having a conversation. You're
That's
just
fair.
being a cool Trey buddy.
That's fair. I'll accept that.
All right, so this is kind of a bonus question that was not on the docket that we prepared because I thought of it a couple hours ago before we sat down to record, and then I forgot to add it to the document, and I just remembered it. But if you could pick any character from your series, or you could pick someone from the other two series, right? Trey, you could pick from Star Twinkle or Kira.
Sure.
But if you could pick one of your characters to hang out on the Thousand Sunny. Have we already asked that question?
You and I talked about that question, I think.
So Trey, you are in the hot seat. If you could pick anyone from Hugto.
All right. I'm going to pick Homare.
Okay, of course. Now, who's she mostly going to hang out with? Is she going to say hi to everyone, or is she going to like, ooh, Robin's really cool, or ooh, Sanji's really cool?
I think Sanji will try to hang out with her, but I think she absolutely is going to hang out with Robin.
Okay.
Because she's really laid back unless she sees something adorable, and she's going to think Chopper's adorable. So she's going to be calling Chopper Totes Adorbs the entire time.
Oh, does she do that too? I thought that was a Hana thing.
No, she absolutely does it too. That's where Hana gets it from, is from her. It's great.
Okay. Now the inverse. You can kidnap one person from the Thousand Sunny to get sucked into the Hugto world. Who are you going to have join?
I'm going to pick Robin because then she'll actually get to fight.
Okay, sure.
That's powerful.
Support the Robin agenda.
Fully on board with that. If I got to choose one more, I would bring Frankie on so he could hang out with Dr. Traub. I think they would have a great time with Victory Dun Dun Mecha.
Okay, I didn't realize that there was a mecha in your show. That's
Oh yeah,
Imagine-
Dr. Traub creates mecha for fun and then goes Victory Dun Dun Mecha.
I love that. Imagine Frankie being really interested in Lulu and he's trying to
He would.
examine how she's made and she
Yep.
just like whacks him.
Yep. She pulls out the gun finally to use it on Frankie. And then Frankie just gets more excited about how cool that is.
Oh, that is so good. I know you, I said you could only bring one onto the Thousand Sunny, but imagine Hugton chewing on like Chopper or something.
Oh.
And he's just like, stop it,
Oh,
no.
That'd be so cute. That'd be so cute. I imagine Luffy like unironically wanting to protect Hugtan all the time. And so like Hugtan's like trying to walk off the Sunny and Luffy's arms just wrap around and pull him back. Oh man.
Oh, goodness.
We see the return of Zoro's like baby sling that he wore in that one filler episode.
Yes.
Yeah, the entire crew just falls in love with this baby. Like, Sanji and Zoro stop fighting with each other so that they can agree to work together to protect this baby.
Oh man, that'd be great.
So Trey, I've got one or two more questions for you, I think. And
Sure.
the first question that I am going to ask is a question. I'm sorry, I did that just for Joel's benefit. You are a newcomer to PreCure. This was your first PreCure season.
Yeah.
Are you all in now? Are you going to watch every PreCure season there is?
Probably. There's a couple of them that the theme just doesn't super interest me. I did a big reaction to the OPs, all the opening themes, and a couple of the OPs really didn't grab me at all. I didn't like the way the show looked or what it looked like it was going for. But I'm probably gonna watch them all anyway because I'm a sucker for punishment. But I'm very excited for Yes PreCure 5. That's coming.
Yes, I do not read the Reddit to see which PreCure seasons are the best seasons, so I have no response to whether that is a good season or not. I had just hope you enjoy it.
Somebody, Kat, told me that there are bug monsters in that one that look like Kamen Rider villains. So,
Yes. Yes, I feel like that season has the best bad guy designs, like of all the
that
seasons.
season, I didn't mean to cut you off there. That season also has a Sentai OP. Like, straight up, that is a Super Sentai OP, and it's great.
Oh, for real? That's amazing.
Yeah.
The first season of PreCure we ever watched was not officially PreCure. It was the American, like, 4Kids style dub of Smile PreCure. And
It was
over here-
Saban. They gave it the Power Rangers treatment.
Yeah. And over here it was called Glitter Force. And the bad guys for that season were like fairy tale creatures. So there was a werewolf and a witch and I think a goblin or something. And they made evil clowns.
Buffoons. Yep. And at first they're blue-nosed buffoons, but then later they're red-nosed buffoons, which are stronger.
Oh, no.
Yeah.
So that was my base level of bad guys for PreCure. I did not feel like what I saw of Futariwa PreCure was an improvement, but
Right.
I really liked the bad guys in your season. I really liked the bad guys in Yes PreCure 5. I really liked my bad guys.
Yeah, self-plug for the Kira. Now, I believe that you said you had a second question for Trey, and then I think I have one final one before we're ready to sign off.
I did, yes. Trey, Joel and I have been crafting our own PreCure season very carefully over the last several episodes. And what we've come up with is a set of girls with insect motifs. So
Okay.
we've got like a Cure Lumiere, who's a firefly, and that sort of thing. And
Yeah.
their theme is exploration and what was the other one, babe? Curiosity.
Curiosity, yep.
So I'm curious what sort of characters you would throw into a season like that.
You got to have,
Wow.
like, Cure Mandible, right? That's the... Cure Mandible would be, like, the beetle that has the mandibles to be able to move things, and she's really strong.
Nice. I like that.
Villain-wise, have you thought up a theme for the villains yet? Are they, like, bird-themed because they eat the bugs, or...
We have thought up some stuff for the villains, but I just want to hear your thoughts completely biased.
I would like heavily lean into the bird theme and then go straight like gotcha man of like, hey, here's Burst Eagle and Son of Falcon, I guess it wouldn't be Vulcan. And then like Snorting Owl. I don't know. I lost that one partway through. Yeah, just like full bird theme. And then when they transform, they each do like the call of the bird. So like the villains would transform too in any series that I made, obviously. And, like, so then Eagle would be just like, and then he'd turn into his eagle form.
Oh, I love that. We actually, we went with like adults who want to discourage curiosity because that way you can stay in control of people. Yeah. And so one of the bad guys is a teacher who punishes students who argue with them about what they're teaching.
Nice.
I really like the idea of giving them a visual bird motif when they fight. That's cool.
Have you come up with the theme for like what the negative and positive energy is going to be called? Because my understanding is it's different in every series.
No, we haven't actually delved too deep into that. We actually wanted to focus on like special artifacts that they had to get, but
that's fair.
Do you have any suggestions, or are you just asking out of curiosity?
It was mostly curiosity, but like if you're leaning into the bug theme and the exploration theme, the Japanese word for exploration is boken. As in, like, adventurers would be Bokinsha. That's why Bokinger is the season where they're adventurers, the Sentai season. So you could go, like, Boken something. I don't know. I guess Boken energy is good enough in and of itself because it's, like, the spirit of adventure. And then the anti would be... I don't know on that one. I'd have to think on that one, but...
Dark Boken.
It could be, yeah. Like, hey, this is exploration on the wrong side of the law.
Yeah, exploration can hurt you if you do it hastily.
Yeah, have you ever jumped down a cliff? That's not good. That's not a good way to explore.
That'll hurt you. Oh, man.
Okay, so this is going to be a very quick question, but it'll be the last one to sign us out of this season, or this retrospective, I guess. So, Trey, if you were a PreCure, what would your color be? And potentially, what would your name be if you're that ready?
Oh, for sure. I would definitely be gray because I'm the boring guy. That's my favorite color, gray. It's not a fancy color, I know. But I would definitely be gray. And then I would be Cure. Oh, man. Can I just be like the super boring Cure Kaizoku so that I can have eye patch?
Sure. You can absolutely do that.
I was gonna say, like, Cure Patch, Cure Pepper. What can we do here? Can you just be Cure Henshin?
That'd be cool.
He actually transform into a robot form that can like take. It's like Roblox style, or like Transformers 4, where you can just take whatever shape you want.
My finisher is just that I transform again, and the power of that transformation like shoots a beam of energy out.
Your entire body just becomes a fist, and you just ram into them really hard.
Oh
man,
so good.
Again, I will derail. Kat said I could derail.
Yeah.
In Shin Mazinger, which is a super robot show, that is what he does to beat the final bad guy. Instead of doing a regular rocket punch where he fires his punch off, he puts on a bunch of extra arms and turns the Shin Mazinger into a giant rocket punch.
That's so cool. You know what I like about talking to you, Trey, and about having you on the show?
That I'm loud?
Listen, obviously yes, because I married someone who is also very loud, and I love him for it. So
that's fair.
But no, I was gonna say you have such a wide breadth of knowledge about Toku stuff that I could just sit here for hours and listen to you talk about it, and I would be like, okay, I'm taking notes. I need to look at this series, and I need to look at this one, and.
To be fair, I've gotten a lot of help with it. The comment section on the YouTube side, once I dove into Tokusatsu, was like super helpful. And it's partly why I say that my my watch list is so long, is because I keep having people comment and go, hey, yeah, that's cool, but have you heard about this show? This is the summary. The characters can do cool stuff like this. You should definitely watch it. And I'm like, oh man, that does sound really cool. I want to watch that too.
Oh, nice. Thank you to Trey's YouTube fans.
Yeah,
and then you guys brought me into PreCure, so now I got all that.
We definitely have a watch list of like the next like 3 or 4 that we want to watch, but that's the curse of being an otaku.
What if
sure.
we just start an entire second podcast that's just for watching PreCure?
Hey,
We'll have
we could
our
talk
people
about.
contact your people, and
Sounds good,
maybe
sounds
we
good.
could set up a Patreon. And yeah, absolutely.
I could legitimately talk about the failure of storytelling with President Kurai for like 4 episodes. I could go into that.
Oh man, I kind of want to hear it.
Like, also one last quick thing. Why even have Harry there if he doesn't get to transform? Like, come on.
Yeah, you told us that he could become a Godzilla hamster.
Yeah.
What a waste of a Godzilla hamster.
How you gonna have him there and not let him do it?
He's all out of Godzilla hamster juice, obviously.
I guess so.
Or Joel's fairy, Fua. Her thing is that she screams at people to make them transform. So give me some Fua screaming.
Yeah, have some screaming in there, man. Come on.
Fua is adorable. But, okay, so we are at the end of our time here. So, Trey, why don't you hit us up once again with where people should go to find you or support you or anything like that?
Yeah, for sure. You can check me out over at youtube.com/c/the full spectrum. We have our own link now. It's great. And I am the host of that podcast and also the one who uploads most of the videos. Most of it was gaming related. Now it's gaming Toku related. And then because of some people, it will soon also be throwing books in there because I'm reading a really interesting book series right now. I don't know who might be to blame for that. That's also in this podcast. And then you can check me out on Twitter over at @RaptorianXD.
Absolutely. And if you are listening to this on Patreon, the links to all of that will be in the description of the post.
And that has been your
Doot. Final thought.
Outro goes here. And don't forget to enjoy the full spectrum of PreCure.
Haha.
1, 2, 3, 4.
Bonus episode.
Bonus episode. Bonus
Episode of King of the What Now. Bye, everyone.